The India-ASEAN relationship is a really big deal in geopolitics today. And if you're preparing for exams, you've got to know this inside and out. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the whole partnership for you, from the treaties that started it all to the latest trade figures, all set up to help you absolutely master this topic. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll trace the whole journey of the partnership. Then, we'll dive deep into its three main pillars: the political stuff, the economic side, and the people-to-people connections. And to finish, we'll wrap it all up with a super focused summary. You know, the high-yield stuff you really need for revision. So, let's kick things off by tracking how this whole thing started. I mean, this partnership wasn't some overnight success story. It's been a slow, steady buildup from a pretty modest beginning to where it is today, a top-tier strategic partnership. Okay, take a look at this. This timeline is fantastic because it shows you the step-by-step deepening of this relationship over, get this, exactly 3 decades. You've got to know these years. It all kicked off back in '92, starting small with just a few specific sectors. By '95, things expanded to a full dialogue partnership. Then, in 2002, the annual summits began, making top-level talks a regular thing. A decade later, 2012, it gets upgraded to a strategic partnership. And finally, the big one. In 2022, on the 30th anniversary, it hits the highest level possible, a comprehensive strategic partnership. Now, I know remembering dates and stages can be a pain, right? So for your prelims, here's a super simple mnemonic to lock this in. Some Friends Summit for Strategic Cooperation. That gives you sectoral for '92, full for '95, summit for 2002, strategic for 2012, and comprehensive strategic for 2022. It's a really easy way to keep that timeline straight in your head. Okay, moving on to our first big pillar, political and security stuff. Think of this as the foundation, the very backbone that keeps everything stable and peaceful in the region. Right. At the very core of all this is a phrase you have to know: the Act East policy. And listen, this isn't just a simple rebranding of the old Look East policy. Don't just gloss over that first word, act. It's a huge deal. It signals a major shift towards a more proactive, hands-on, get-things-done approach. And the most crucial part? ASEAN is right at the heart of this entire strategy. And this is a perfect example of India's commitment to what they call ASEAN Centrality. By showing up and being an active player in all these key security groups, like the ARF for political talks and the ADMM Plus for defense, India is basically saying, hey, ASEAN, you're in the driver's seat of this region's security architecture. It's a huge sign of respect and alignment. Okay, so this brings us to a classic exam-style question. It's one thing to show up to meetings, but how did India put its money where its mouth is? What was the formal, binding commitment they made to peace in the region? And boom, here's the answer you need. It's the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, or TAC for short. And you'll want to circle that date, October 8th, 2003. This was a massive step. By signing this, India legally bound itself to ASEAN's core principles, like peaceful coexistence and not interfering in each other's business. It was a game changer. So these milestones aren't just dates on a calendar. They show how the partnership got, real and official. Think about it. In 2015, India opens a dedicated mission just for ASEAN. That's a serious diplomatic investment. Then in 2022, they align their vision for the Indo-Pacific with ASEAN's. And right now, India is co-chairing a counterterrorism group. That's not just participating, that's leading. All right, let's switch gears and talk money. We're diving into the economic engine of this partnership. We're going to look at trade, investment, and something really crucial: the projects that are physically connecting our regions. First off, let's just look at the big, flashy number. As of 2024, trade in goods between India and ASEAN soared past $106 billion. Now, what does that number actually mean? Well, to put it into perspective, it makes ASEAN one of India's absolute top trading partners on the planet. It just goes to show how deeply interconnected our economies have become. And check out this chart. I know it's simple, but it tells a really important story. This thing is growing, and it's growing consistently, going from about $100 billion in 2023 to almost $107 billion in 2024. That's a pretty healthy jump in just 1 year. That kind of steady climb is exactly what you want to see. It's a powerful sign that economic ties are getting stronger and stronger. So, how did they build this massive economic relationship? Well, you have to know these 4 agreements, kind of like building blocks, and they have to be in the right order. It all started with a general framework agreement back in 2003. Then came the big one for goods, ATIGA, in 2009. And finally, in 2014, they locked in the deals for services, ATISA, and for investment, the AIA, completing the whole economic picture. Now, if you're going to remember one of those acronyms, make it AITIGA. It's the big one, the cornerstone for all trade in goods. And here's a key current affairs point for you. It's being updated right now. The whole goal is to make it more modern, easier for businesses to use, and just better overall for today's economy. Okay, when we say connectivity, we're not just talking about Wi-Fi. We're talking about actual roads. And the big one, the flagship project you have to remember, is the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway. This is the Act East policy in concrete and asphalt. It's physically linking India's northeast to Southeast Asia, and there are even plans to push it further to Laos and Cambodia. So, where does the money for all these joint projects come from? Well, this table breaks it down nicely. And look at what they're spending it on. A green fund for climate change, a science and tech fund for new ideas. It shows they're not just throwing money around, they're targeting the big challenges of our time. Okay, we've covered politics, we've covered economics, but there's a third piece to this puzzle, and it's just as important. It's all about connecting people, our cultures, and building real trust. Because without that, no partnership can truly last. And look at all the different ways they're doing this. It's not just stuffy, high-level meetings. We're talking student exchanges, special courses for young diplomats, youth summits, music festivals. They're trying to build real grassroots connections between the next generation of our people. And a huge part of this is education and building up skills. India's providing a lot of support, especially for the CLMV countries. That's Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. And these scholarships to the historic Nalanda University, that's a really special initiative, bringing back ancient ties in a modern way. And here's another hot tip for your current affairs notes. 2025 is officially the ASEAN-India Year of Tourism. You can bet this is going to be a big deal, a major push, with events and easier travel to get more people exploring and connecting across our regions. Okay, deep breath. Let's pull everything together now. For your final revision, this next part is your ultimate cheat sheet. It's all the crucial points, the dates, the numbers, the key terms, everything, all in one place. Seriously, this one slide is pure gold for your revision. It's the whole story we've just walked through. You see the evolution over 30 years, from just talking to a full-blown partnership. You've got the key policy, Act East, and the key treaty, the TAC, that made it all official. You see the economic power in those trade numbers built on agreements like AITGA, and it shows how it all connects, from actual highways on the ground to shared friendship years. Master the details on this slide, and you've basically nailed the India-ASEAN relationship. So that brings us to one last question, something to chew on, especially for those tougher analytical parts of your exam. As we look ahead, where's the next big push going to be? Is it going to be in the digital world, or maybe in green technology to fight climate change? Or will it be all about cooperation on the seas, in the maritime space? Thinking about this, that's how you go from just knowing the facts to really understanding the future of this vital partnership.